Welcome back. This is a very merry edition of Ready to Die Fighting. I'm Kris, and it is New Year's Eve. And what better way to celebrate the ending of the year than to look back over the decade, 2 decades, and remember Y2K. 20 years ago, at this very day and time, we were all crowded around our TVs, biting our nails, worried to death that the world was going to end. Planes were going to fall out of the sky. Nuclear plants are going to blow up. The grid was going to go down. Like, we were done. This was the end of modern civilization. All because the stupid computer engineers who made these things didn't make the year. Can this dog calm down? Didn't make the year with 4 digits. They only used 2, supposedly. So if you're too young to remember this, or maybe you've forgotten, the fear was that, you know, all the computers have clocks in them, and, you know, so the date, the time, and the year. But instead of using 4 digits for the year, they only used the last 2. So it was like June 17th, 1987, and they would just go 06/17/87. Simple enough. Except when you get to the year 2000, it goes to 00. And then the computers think that instead of being the year 2000, it's actually the year 1900, and it's like a time machine, and they just freak out, and the world ends. That's what was going to happen. Needless to say, it wasn't quite that dramatic. I don't think anything happened at all. But that didn't mean that people didn't freak out. To my knowledge, there weren't any riots or anything too crazy, but people were preparing, and my family was preparing, specifically my mom. My mom started saving water. She started trying to learn as much as she could. Now, this was, I won't say it's pre-internet days, because the internet was there, but it was certainly pre-Google, pre-YouTube. The internet certainly wasn't the, I don't know, you didn't have the plethora of information that you have now. And the information that was there wasn't always credible. Not that it is now, but I think maybe a little bit more, tiny bit. So she was limited in what she could learn and what she had access to, especially as a single mom, not a whole lot of disposable income. You know, she did the best that she could with the situation. And it was one of those things where I think that was the thing that really got my family as a whole kind of talking about the concept of prepping. But it was something that was always there with us. I think in big part is that, with the exception of myself and one of my brothers, everyone in my family is military, law enforcement, or medical people. So we're very aware that things can go bad. Things do get bad. Emergencies happen every single day. That idea, I think, was very present in my family. My mom, she was a kid when the riots happened in Detroit, and she clearly remembers seeing tanks, you know, going down the streets, and it was a terrifying time. My grandma was a single mom with 3 small children during this time. They both have experienced their fair share of racism. My mom less than my grandma. I've experienced some racism less than my mom. Hopefully my son will experience even less than me. By the time he has kids, hopefully there'll be no racism. But it's something, it's like, we know things can get bad. Bad things happen, emergencies happen, help's not always going to come right away. That awareness was there. And so there was this kind of, even though people didn't really use the word prepping, there was a mentality of being ready all the time. And Y2K definitely brought some more light onto that and kind of lit a match under my mom in particular. Now, I was a teenager. My brothers, we were all teenagers, and me and one brother in particular, we're assholes. We are assholes. Absolute assholes. And we would tease our mom and make fun of her about it. We didn't really believe, me and my brother, and we, oddly enough, or maybe not oddly enough, we were the two who went into computers and technology instead of like the emergency services type stuff. And we both were just kind of like, bah, nothing's gonna happen. And we made fun of her about it. You know, she was trying to make this solar stove or solar oven, and it did get warm, not warm enough to cook anything. But, and maybe she didn't leave it out there long. Maybe she did something wrong. I don't know. And so, of course, we had to laugh about that. And we just gave her so much crap. But she was trying to keep us alive. She was trying to protect us. And then we're watching the ball drop. And we're seeing China and Australia, whatever other countries that celebrate the New Year before us, you know, just the time zone differences. And nothing's happening there. And we're like, see, told you, you know, being the self-goofy, obnoxious people that we were. And we all made fun of her. Like, I think even my grandma made fun of her and teased her about it. And, you know, her response was like, good. Good. Like, why are you guys... It's like, yeah, I'm happy nothing happens. Like, what's wrong with you people? like she was hoping that bad things were happening. And we weren't adequately prepared. She did the best she could, but considering how many people were living in the house, we didn't have enough water. We didn't have enough food. Even though she and my grandma both knew how to use firearms, we didn't have any in the house. We had some firewood, not enough to get through a Michigan winter. But she did what she could. And afterwards I asked her, I said, did you really think something was going to happen? And she said something that kind of stuck with me. She said she didn't know. She's like, I don't know about all this computer stuff. And it's like, she said, I generally didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that I had to do what I could. And you're like, yeah, and I was scared. Because like, even if nothing really, I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how people are going to react. She's like, I don't know how I can keep you guys safe. It's like, so did what I could. and I was like, well, you didn't seem scared. You know, I thought it was just kind of all of a joke. And she's like, well, of course, you know, it's like, I don't want my kids to be scared. Like, even though you're teenagers, like, I don't want to scare my kids. Like, it was fine. You guys thought it was a joke. You thought you were safe, and fantastic. You know, I don't want you to be nervous. I don't want you to be scared. You know, and she kind of said, that's what a good parent does. You know, you keep your kids safe and you don't want to scare them. And that's the part that really stuck with me, is she was getting ready and she was scared and she didn't know what was going to happen, but she allowed and encouraged us to have fun with it. And I never felt afraid about it. I kind of wondered, you know, I was like, oh, nothing's going to happen. But there was kind of a little question, like, or will it? Like, you know, what would this look like? I mean, people are talking, it's all over the news and stuff. I mean, maybe, but I wasn't worried. I was planning on going to school. Well, not the next day, but, you know, whenever school started up again and hanging out with my friends. And I really wasn't worried about it. It was a big, fun joke to me. And that was something that I really held on to. And it's carried over to the way that I parent and the way that I prep with my son. I mean, you guys see the videos. Hopefully you follow me on Instagram. I talk a lot about the stuff that we do, and I expose him to just how bad things can get. We do practice runs of what do we do if someone breaks into the house? What do we do if the house catches on fire? We don't just talk about it. We actually walk through it. He's walked through the house with me as we've practiced clearing the house. We've practiced giving each other CPR. You know, not really doing the chest compressions, but just kind of like walking through it, going through the motions, talking through what do you do to call 911, you know, and I'll pretend to be the 911 operator and talk it through with him. And I've taken him to shooting ranges. I've taken him out camping, and, you know, what do you do if you're lost in the woods? We really go over this stuff. And I've had people say things to me, it's like, well, aren't you scaring him? And, you know, is this too much for a little kid? And, you know, things like that. And I'm like, in theory, yes. But I think it all depends on how you approach it. This is very much a fun game for him. Like, you know, we have serious conversations like this is a real thing, but everything's kind of given this spin of zombies, or usually zombies. It's kind of, And that's what we call it. I don't call it prepping for emergencies. It's like, oh, this is for the zombies. This is our zombie backpack. This is our zombie supplies. This is our zombie plan. And he knows that zombies aren't real, but thinking of it that way, it is a game. It's like TV. It's like movies. You know, sometimes we're at the mall and it's like, Nate, there's zombies here. Like, there's zombies in this mall. We got to get out of here. And we'll practice, you know, watching people and moving quickly and kind of communicating without talking and, you know, get out of this mall as fast as we can and get to the car safely without letting the zombies get us. And I'm sure the people in the stores think, you know, who are these crazy people? But we have a lot of fun. And now he's paying attention to where exits are. And he's watching people to see who looks suspicious, who looks like they might be a zombie. Now, what that looks like exactly, I don't know. But he's paying attention. And he's looking for signs of danger. He knows what to do in all these different situations. And he isn't scared. He isn't freaked out about it. We had a little scare a few weeks ago. We thought that somebody had gotten into the house. And because we had practiced what to do if somebody had broken into the house, we both knew what to do. I had my regular patterns that I use to clear the house. I didn't have to make decisions and think about what should I do first. I already knew. I had practiced it a dozen times or however many times. And so I knew. He knew what to do. I didn't have to sit there with potentially a bad guy in the house and have a conversation and tell him what to do. He already knew. And then, of course, we kind of recapped and talked about it. And he was nervous. He was scared. He was scared. He was scared about that. I'm not going to lie. But I think having that rehearsals that we had done and doing it in a fun way and engaging him and getting his thoughts on, you know, I let him be a part of the process. Like, okay, if we think a bad guy's in here, you know, what should we do? You know, it's a conversation. It's not just me telling him what to do. I like to let him think through our options and stuff when we come up with our strategies. And it's fun. And sometimes he'll request to do these things as a game. Sometimes we've got walkie-talkies. We've got code names. Sometimes he'll just hand me a walkie-talkie and go outside. And next thing you know, we're surveying for zombies. You know, he might pretend like he got injured and I run out with our training tourniquet and, you know, put it on him. And, you know, I don't put it on him too tight or anything. Just to practice going through the motions and reacting and using our code names. I don't really know why we need code names, but it just makes it more fun, right? It's supposed to be fun, but also training. And that's something that I got from my mom. She kind of was the foundation of that. Or planted that bug in my head of like how to approach this in a way that's not scary. And if you were to ask him, he's off doing whatever. He's not scared for the most part. He's a little scared of the dark, to be honest, but most of the time, he's not scared. He has a high level of confidence that I can keep him safe, that our dog can keep him safe, that he knows what to do. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. 20 years of prepping, learning new skills, a couple different generations. No disasters, no real disasters. We've had some personal tragedies, personal disasters, and we've gotten through them. We've gotten through them in part because of our survival mindset, part because of luck. I think a big part of it is luck. Part of it is just being stubborn, not quitting. So, Happy New Year, guys. Just 20 more years of disaster-free prepping, fitness, and fun. Happy 2020! Yay! And Eerie's just wanting so much attention. Here she is. There's Eerie. There's Eerie. Happy New Year. No licking my face. No licking my face. Look at the camera.